Congratulations, Lightspeed JJK is finally real. Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo just broke the power scaling of the JJK verse, and it's all thanks to Dabura. Now, I've seen a lot of people clowning Dabura and calling him a fraud, and that he's not on at one level just because he doesn't have a domain expansion or reverse curse technique. But this chapter actually proves otherwise, because chapter 18 just introduced a feat that changes everything: sub-Lightspeed movements. And on the other side of the battlefield, Tsurugi and Rika are bullying a special grade. So, let's get into it. The chapter is titled Warrior, and we start right where we left off the fights. After the fusion, Maru is clearly confused, and Tsurugi, or in this case Tsurika, is just overwhelming Maru, so much so that he's stuck playing defense. And I have to say, the interaction here is just great. Rika and Tsurugi are bickering inside Tsurugi's head, just like Venom and Eddie do. Maru then tries to use Chaos and Harmony directly on Tsurugi, but it does nothing. And just think about how insane this new form is. The combination of a heavily restricted body plus the infinite cursed energy from the ring basically makes Tsurika immune to Maru's curse technique. He's basically a walking tank at this point. And Maru realizes the source of this power boost is the ring, the memento from Yuta Okotsu, which was given to Tsurugi instead of his sister Yuka. And this just goes to show how much of a monster Yuta is. He has so much cursed energy that even aliens from another planet are left in shock. And people call this man a fraud, which is just insane. Tsurugi apologizes to Maru, saying that he's gonna win this no matter what. And Maru tells him not to apologize and use his curse technique on the ground, so you can grow and control vines just like Hashirama does. And the chapter stops here for these two. But let's be honest, Maru is fighting a losing battle here. Like bro, Rika is called the Queen of Curses for a reason, and now she's possessed Tsurugi's body, someone that has a heavily restriction. Yeah, Maru is cooked. But I will say it's kind of disappointing that Tsurugi only got a power boost from Rika, because would you imagine how cooler this fight would be if Tsurugi had all of Yuta's copied curse techniques? Yeah, that would just absolutely be broken. But we're going to have to wait until the next chapter to see how this fight ends. Now moving on to the main event of this chapter, we see Mahoraga aura farming on a skyscraper. And Dabra shoots his light beams at him, and Mahoraga just flexes muscles and shatters them like glass. Dabra is just stunned by this, and Mahoraga immediately goes on the attack. And similar to the previous chapter, Dabra puts his hand over Mahoraga's face and shoots another light beam at him. But it doesn't work. And Mahoraga just has the biggest smile on his face because he knows he's about to cook. Mahoraga slashes Dabra's face with his sword, and Dabra is still shocked that his curse technique isn't working. Also, can we just talk about this detail? Because Mahoraga literally looks like an NBA player right here, and he dunks a street light right on Dabra's head. The disrespect is just crazy. And just look at Dabra's face. He knows that it's over. Mahoraga has adapted to his curse technique. The technique that Dabra has lied on his whole life is now useless. And Dabra is in a pile of rubble, beaten, bloodied, and for the first time in his life, he's terrified. He realizes he's gonna lose this fight. And this triggers a flashback, where we see a young Dabura and Dura. Dura asks him, wouldn't it be better if you got along with the other Diskunte? And Dabura gets all gloomy, thinking Dura doesn't want him around. Dura quickly dismisses that thought, and says he's grateful to have him around. And Dabura admits that he doesn't like hanging out with the other warriors of the Diskunte tribe, because their pride is as high as the clouds, and he always wins fights without much effort, and he feels guilty about it. And Dura drops the hardest line of the chapter. It's not that you don't want to fight, it's just that you've never fought before. Possessing strength doesn't make you a warrior. And Dabura is confused because he doesn't understand what Dura is saying. And Dura says it's hard to put into words, but he'll understand once he faces someone stronger than him. This is the Saitama problem Gojo had faced, the loneliness that comes with strength. Dabura never had to try, so he never developed the spirit of a fighter, until now. Back in the present, Mahoraga kicks Dabura so hard he sends him flying through multiple buildings. And as Dabura is getting pummeled by Mahoraga, he gets his fairy tale power friendship moment, and it's surprisingly done well. He remembers Dura, his duty to protect everyone, his sister, Maru, Cross, the Lumelians, everyone that's counting on him. Mahoraga throws another haymaker at him, and Dabura catches Mahoraga's fists, which breaks his sword of extermination. Dabura apologizes to Mahoraga and says, sorry, I'll fight you properly now, as I should have. And here's the twist. The narrator mentioned Dabura's curse technique, blank and light, and explains that Dabura's body cannot withstand acceleration at the speed of light. He has never used his curse technique on himself because it would tear him apart. But with his blast neutralized, he has no choice. Dabura clenches his fist, digs his feet into the ground, and decides to beat the Divine General to death with his bare hands. Now that's just cold. Dabura gets ready to shatter the limits of his body and bring it to its absolute potential. And Dabura is ready to die as he says, Dura, warriorhood awaits me. And the final narration is just chilling. Unprecedented for humanity. Dabura Kuraba dances at sublight speed. Now this is the coldest moment of Dabura's life, and it's probably going to be his last. Moving at sublight speed while your body can't handle it is just a suicide move. But physically speaking, light speed means infinite mass, So if Dabura lands one punch, Mahoraga should be vaporized. And this one single feat just upscales the JJK verse. So, no more JJK caps at Mark 3 statements because of our favorite misogynist, or that horrendous statement that JJK characters are Demon Slayer victims. Plus, this cements Dabura as the fastest character in the series. And yeah, that includes both Gojo and Sukuna. While Dabura isn't shown to be as much of a tactical fighter as Gojo and Sukuna, just based on what he's shown on screen, he's definitely honored one level. If anything, his biggest hurdle is his lack of challenges. He's never had to push himself in a fight because he's just too strong for his peers. If I had to compare him to anyone, it would be Teen Gojo before his awakening, because Gojo was considered the strongest, and the first ever challenge he had in his life was Toji. So, just like Toji, I think Mahoraga is going to be the instrument for Dabura's growth. Plus, he's this strong with just his curse technique alone. So imagine how much of a monster this man will be when he deepens his knowledge on Jujutsu and unlocks RCT, domain expansion, or maybe even a curse technique reversal. If that happens, Dabura would honestly be the strongest in the verse, period. But the biggest question of this chapter is simple. Can Dabura kill Mahoraga before his body disintegrates? Well, we're gonna have to wait for the next chapter to get our answers. Plus, if Yuka's gonna survive this, we really need some divine intervention, whether it's Yuji Itadori, Iori Okotsu, or anyone competent, because things aren't looking good for her. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss the Chapter 19 breakdown when it comes out. And for more quality JJK content, because I have a lot more in store for you guys.